Good morning. It's July 24th. I'm Brian Crandall, and welcome to this NBC 10 coffee break. We're going to start today following up on what has been the major story of the last week and a half, the devastating fire that killed 10 people at the Gabriel House Assisted Living Facility in Fall River. Well, several survivors of the fire adjusting to their new homes at local nursing homes, but they say the memory of that night is still haunting them.
That day that I saw you, because I really thought that I was going to join my kids, my two girls.
It starts to get dark. I start panicking inside. When the ambulances go by here, I can't stand the sound. I cover my ears.
You know, our Molly Levine spoke to those survivors. She had talked to, you saw in that video there, one of them, Al Almanza, right after the fire, and then caught up with him again yesterday. And he talked about, he had children who had previously died and talked about, fearing that he would die as well. Those survivors say they can't thank first responders enough for everything they did that night in rescuing who they could. And they would love to meet some of them again. Earlier this week on Tuesday, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey announced a little more than $1 million to help hire more emergency personnel for the city. The firefighters union, right after the fire, had criticized what they said was the lack of staffing. The fire chief acknowledges that they could use about 20 more firefighters, and they've already added several more firefighters per shift using overtime, now getting more money to hopefully hire more firefighters. All right, well, it was nice out this morning, and it looks beautiful. So let's go over to Storm Team 10's A.J. Mastrangelo, who's outside in that beautiful weather. A.J., what are we expecting today? More of the same?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, as we continue for today, it's actually a nice start out here. We're seeing dew points only in the 60s to start off for this morning. Our air temperatures, though, are on the climb. Actually, heat advisory going into place for northern areas. That begins at 11 a.m., and it runs through 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Now, today, really not going to be too bad. Feels like temperature up towards 90 degrees. Like 90 degrees by around 10 a.m. tomorrow, and by the end of tomorrow afternoon, when we start to see some storms push into the region, we could be talking about heat index values up towards around 100 degrees. So do expect that, and do expect a little bit more in the way of some storms as well. Sorry, my earbud here falling out just a little bit, but nonetheless, we're talking about this storm potential as well for tomorrow. It's going to be a break in the heat and humidity, so keep an eye to the sky. We're talking about 3 to 9 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see a line of thunderstorms first develop out towards the Mass Pike off to the north. They'll sag further southward as the afternoon and evening progresses, working through the Providence area right around our dinner time frame, and then pushing offshore as we head towards 8, 9 p.m. Now, unlike previous setups where we've seen a little bit of a southerly wind kind of negate the majority of storm activity, we'll see westerly wind. We're actually already seeing a little bit of it ahead of this system. So these storms could be packing a bit of a punch. That, alongside the heat and humidity, should be a fairly busy Friday here for the Storm Team 10. Of course, we'll keep you updated with everything you need to know, but a nice day today. Get ready for the heat, and as we head for the weekend, that's where the question marks remain. Saturday, it does look like we'll see a little bit of an easterly wind, and that'll kick up some cloud cover. However, following the storms, we'll likely see some drier conditions on the backside of a cold front. It's Sunday where we're starting to build in more clouds and potentially a few rain showers late day, but both days not a washout by any means, and temperatures look to be seasonable for both Saturday and Sunday. So that's an early look at your forecast here heading the weekend. Tomorrow, the heat and humidity peaking. Going to feel downright sultry out there, so make sure you're drinking plenty of water, as well as finding a way to stay cool. Also coming up tonight, we got Summer of Fun. Molly Levine and I, we took a trip to Block Island, and that'll be airing on the 4 p.m. show, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Brian, I'll send it back to you in the studio. Not too bad out here just quite yet, but it'll be a different story. Thankfully, no coffee break tomorrow, or I'd be sweating at this time frame.
Yeah, sweating. It looks like there's a breeze out there right now, and I felt that earlier, so it was pretty comfortable. You can hear it in your microphone and see the leaves on the trees moving as well. Hopefully a little comfortable there, but as you said, it's gonna get sticky tomorrow. All right, thanks, AJ. Appreciate it. All right. Well, after 12 hours, emergency road repairs on I-195 West in East Providence have finally wrapped up. The left center lane was closed just past the Washington Bridge from 4:30 yesterday afternoon to after 6 a.m. this morning. Rhode Island DOT said the lane was closed for pavement repairs. And again, this was just after the closed Washington Bridge. All right. New Bedford police arrested a man in connection to a heist of Pokemon cards. This is a story we told you about last week. Now we're told that Richard Nunes was caught trying to sell the high-value cards. Earlier this month, someone broke into First Edition Collectibles and about $100,000 worth of cards were stolen. Police say they were notified Monday about someone trying to sell one of the cards. Officers also searched an apartment in Dartmouth and recovered many of the cards. The card store on Facebook yesterday thanked a couple other stores for notifying authorities when someone tried to sell the cards to them. Some really valuable cards. Again, limited edition Pokemon cards that are in those cases and have been graded, high-grade cards. And again, as we look from the surveillance video from last week when the cards were stolen, so a suspect caught there in New Bedford. Meanwhile, the family feud within the Market Basket grocery chain is heating up again. Two long-time but now former executives spoke out about being fired this week. Joe Schmidt and Tom Gordon were suspended with pay back in May. They were fired by the board of directors for what they called insubordination and making false and derogatory remarks about the company. Now, the CEO, Arthur T. Demoulas, was also put on paid leave. He says the private equity group with a major ownership stake is ruining the business.
The gentleman that he always is, he was great. He expressed his dismay with that decision, expressed his support for my family. And, that's the man that he is. And I will always stand by him because he's always stood by me.
And again, those are the fired executives there. Market Basket has dozens of locations around New England, including two Rhode Island. Again, this is the second major fight within the company in the past decade or so. All right, another story out of Massachusetts. It's really wild, pardon the pun. Lizards on the loose. Authorities in multiple towns say they've seen an uptick in missing pet reptiles over the past week. A water monitor lizard went missing in the town of Webster and has not been found. Meanwhile, in North Attleboro, animal control officers say a person found a bearded dragon on their deck. Now they're waiting to see if an owner comes forward to claim it. As for the monitor lizard, officials in Webster are asking people to keep their distance and to call animal control if anyone sees it. And I thought I heard during our report yesterday that one of these things, I think it's the monitor lizard because it's not that one, is about 5 feet. That's crazy. So that's the one that officials in Webster say you want to stay away from because it's about person size. All right, the New England Patriots, as they are starting their training camp, also holding a dog adoption day on the first day of camp. Players and even head coach Mike Vrabel came in holding the puppies, and Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs carried a puppy that was up for adoption, and that pup's only concern was running as the wide receiver, who's pretty fast himself and has some good moves, tries to catch up with him. Diggs had to navigate the obstacle course to catch the dog. ESPN reports 40 of the 41 dogs have already found a new home. And get this, the town of Massachusetts is changing its name for one day only, and it's to celebrate the return of Dunkin. The town of Stowe will be Dunkin, Massachusetts. Stowe is west of Boston and has been known as a Dunkin desert after all the stores in town closed a few years ago, back in 2022. But a new location opened this morning, and people were already lining up overnight.
We couldn't sit in our house and think that someone else might be here. My friends really want me to get a video of the ribbon cutting, if that even happens, and just, get a bunch of Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, good for them. The first 100 customers in line received 100 days of free coffee. Dunkin' is also donating $5,000 to the Stowe Food Pantry, and a mural commemorating the Dunkin' Desert will also be unveiled. All right, so my guess is lots of people heading to that new Dunkin' in Stowe. Well, it's got a nice front porch to it, a country feel. So no longer a Dunkin' desert. You wonder how many towns in our area actually don't have a Dunkin'. So that might be worth researching. Coming up tonight on our newscast, I have a story looking closer at Rhode Island's Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights, which we called LEOBOR for the past number of years and has been controversial as critics claim it doesn't allow police chiefs to punish police officers enough for alleged bad behavior. Well, LEOBOR, the name actually changed last year with a new law in Rhode Island. So we're taking a look back at some recent controversial case and the changes that were made and what we know about cases that are going through that new system now. So that's tonight on our newscast. stay tuned for that. And of course, thanks for joining us here on Coffee Break. We'll have all your news and weather updates through the day on TV, and of course, always available on turnto10.com. We'll be back on TV for NBC 10 News at noon.